Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I'm the host of the show. Today, I'm sitting here with John Martinez of Polar Bear Mechanical. Can you explain to us a little bit about what your business is?
Yes, sir. So I'm a mechanical contractor. A lot of people get thrown off by that word, mechanical, but all it means is we do HVAC, so heating, air conditioning. That's what we do. So we're the guys that help keep you comfortable, whether in your home or business, whatever.
Yeah. So what made you want to get started in doing HVAC?
Now a word from our sponsors. The People's Tiny House Festival is the nation's largest gathering of simple living, featuring van conversions, bus conversions, and tiny houses, of course. Catch the event in Loveland, Colorado, July 16th and 17th at the Ranch Events Complex. Get your tickets at peoplestinyhousefestival.com/tickets. Sheath Underwear has a pouch for the boys. It is everyday underwear for every man. 100% money back on the first pair if you don't like it. Visit sheathunderwear.com and enter the code COSBP20 to get 20% off your order. Recon Marketing is the fastest growing social media agency in Colorado. Recon focuses on becoming an extension of your business while providing social media management, review management, and digital marketing. Recon Marketing, putting you on the radar. Power Toolsafe is revolutionizing tool tracking and protection for everybody. With Power Toolsafe, you can protect the equipment that keeps your business running. Go to powertoolsafe.com and start your new account now and register up to $10,000 in tools for free. Planet Duct offers astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. They have taken air duct cleaning to a new intergalactic level that is far more powerful and proactive than any on the market in El Paso County or Southern Colorado. Reach out to Planet Duct for any of your air duct cleaning needs.
So it's kind of a roundabout story. I was actually working at UCCS before I got into HVAC, doing more like a budget management type of role. And I really liked it.
Budget management, you said?
Yeah, budget management. I was going to school, working on my MBA and working there at the same time. And so as I was working on my MBA, I just always had a passion for small business. I volunteered on a lot of different committees and stuff while I was at the university, and I was always really passionate about scholarships. So we did some like scholarship fundraising and got to meet some different business owners and stuff, and just further fueled that passion for small business. So as I was working on my MBA, I did an internship with the local HVAC contractor that I knew the owner of the company, just a small mom and pop shop, and just kind of wanted to see more what the small business was all about. So nothing in particular about HVAC at all. Just the fact was I knew this guy and he happened to have an HVAC company. So I ended up doing an internship with him and worked for him for about 4 months, just once a day. I mean, one day a week. And I was able to help the company out quite a bit. And it just really opened my eyes to the HVAC world and construction. And I grew up around construction. I never really wanted to do anything with it. That's why I moved to Colorado Springs to go to college and get a good job.
Yeah.
And, but I was just really intrigued by it, and I've always been very mechanically inclined. Always worked on my own vehicles and did everything around my house, and big do-it-yourselfer. And I was really interested in it, and so after seeing the success I was able to help them with in that 4-month period, only coming in every so often. We just saw a ton of opportunity and potential with it, and eventually ended up working out a deal with the owner of the company to where he hired me in as a general manager to basically come and run the show, even though I knew absolutely nothing about HVAC.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So is there any kind of like requirements? Because you said you are a contractor.
Yes, sir.
But what are the requirements to do HVAC?
So as a contractor, so right now I'm fully licensed, insured, all of that stuff to do work. I have my own company. So the license required for that is you have to have your mechanical license through the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, and that's all based off of code. So there's code books specifically for HVAC. You have to learn the code, take the test, pass the test. There's some other certifications that you have to get. But it's pretty straightforward. Being the roundabout way that I got into HVAC, I never came up through the ranks. I never went to school for HVAC or any of that. And I did pretty much everything on my own. I took some classes at the local supply shops, and I really did a lot of research on my own. I read and studied the code books on my own, and I just went and took the test, and I was able to pass. And so there's different levels of contractor license that you can get. The top one is a mechanical A, and that allows you to do any type of HVAC work that's out there, residential, commercial, gas lines, you name it.
Coroner's offices.
Coroner's offices, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got my master HVAC license.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that before we started recording.
We got to bring that up again.
Yeah, you guys don't know, but we had to restart the show because the audio was not going. So we might say some things that we already talked about, but I think we're good. Yep. Didn't mean to cut you off though. My bad.
No, you're good. It was it's not easy by any means, but it was hell of a lot easier than getting an MBA. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Like the tests. Are they like rigorous?
Yeah, so it was a 4-hour test. It's open book,
Mm-hmm.
but it is very intense. I took the entire time. There's a lot of stuff on there where you're just like flipping through the pages trying to find the code because it's very specific in the way that they word the questions, and a lot of times the way that they word the code, it's kind of up for interpretation, and it's not very easy, and there's different things that can go in a bunch of different categories, so you just got to be really familiar with the code.
Yeah, and just really just dive in and really just absorb it all. And that makes perfect sense too, because what you do actually, people's life depend on it in a lot of ways, because if it goes wrong, it could set your house on fire. It could, or there's probably lots of things that could go wrong with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, that's how most code is adopted. There's stories that we hear every year of, technicians dying in hot attics or in spaces where they probably shouldn't have been. A lot of stories about people dying in their homes where, they're poisoned by carbon monoxide and things were done improperly, and, clearance issues, houses burned down and different things like that. So unfortunately, most of the code, it stems from issues that have happened, and then a code is adopted to try to avoid those issues going forward.
For sure, yeah, and that's good. Like with my industry, I didn't have to do a bunch of tests or get certified with anything, but I do remember sitting down and just really diving into everything and learning how to produce videos good for businesses specifically. So that was the kind of I didn't have to do crazy rigorous tests, thank God, but I did study, and I constantly am learning, and studying and adding new things to what I can do. So, yeah.
So you had asked me how I got into it. And so when I was doing the internship, it really opened my eyes to the construction industry and just seeing the work that was done. And as I got more into it, and I was really intrigued and started learning and taking more classes on my own, and I would take home installation manuals from the equipment that it's being installed, start reading it. And I very quickly realized that the majority of the work that is being done is not done properly. And a lot of the workers or technicians that are doing the work have never really been trained properly. And I can't tell you how many times I would be talking to guys, and it was like, well, so-and-so said they did it this way, or this is the way that we always did it, or everybody does it this way, and that's the way I do it. And me being
take me 4 more hours if I do it this way or something.
Exactly. But that's not the type of person that I am. I want to learn how to do it the right way, and if there's a better way to do it, a more efficient way or proper way to do it, that's the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I really dove in and just really reading the installation manuals and seeing the work that's being done out in people's homes and stuff. I was completely appalled, and I really could not believe that was how things were. So it just further intrigued me, and I saw it as even more of an opportunity and something that I knew if I got into the industry, I could really, I think, make a splash, and I feel like I have. So,
yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. And how long you guys been around?
So I was with the previous company for about 5 years, and then I just started my company a little over 2 years ago.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And so when you started your company, you had already learned all the HVAC stuff. You had already gotten your your certifications.
Yep.
Then you got into business, so you had to figure that out. How did you go about navigating that?
So with
you were already studying for your MBA, actually.
Right. So I had my MBA before I started. So that part of it, I think, came a little bit more naturally to me. A big part of the MBA is really focused on case studies and looking at different businesses and different ways of styles of management and how that affected different things. And so I feel like I had a pretty strong background on that because the MBA, it covers pretty much all aspects of business. So that part of it, and I think for most small businesses, especially in construction, a lot of the issues, that's where they come from, because the majority of contractors are really small companies. These are guys that came up in the industry doing the work. A lot of them, they still do the work when they have their own company, and they're not business guys by any means.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of issues happen. And I think that is the number one issue in HVAC and in construction. So I'll ask you a question. I'd like to ask people this. So what do you think is the average size of an HVAC company in the United States?
Well, because you're asking me that question, I'm going to say 1 to 2.
Okay. Yeah. You must have been studying or something. So I ask people that question all the time, and usually I get answers like on the low end between 10 and 20. Average, I would say people say, 40, 50, up to 100.
Okay.
But the reality is that most HVAC companies are between 1 to 2 employees. And that means it's an owner-operated company, and they have a helper helping them out. And so they're answering all the phone calls. They're doing the books. They're doing everything across the board, the accounting, the pricing. And you don't have time to focus on all of that stuff when you're out running calls and busy doing the work.
Doing the work, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, as you say that, it's like I'm expanding and learning in business myself too. Like, because I am one of those, one owner business, sole proprietors, I guess you could call it. And in a lot of ways, I need to expand, especially now that I'm continually growing and bringing on more and more work. Like last week, I put in over 100 hours on my computer editing and programming too.
And that's a tough spot to be in because in business, the most important part of it is the business side of it, regardless of what you're doing. And if you're not paying attention to the business side of it, you're not going to be successful. And so from the very beginning, especially with my company, that's been something that's really important that I focused on. And we're doing things the right way, and it's really paying off. So with the average company being 1 to 2 employees, right now 2 years in, I just hired a sales guy. It's our newest addition to the team, and we're at a staff of 11. And we're busy. Everybody has a solid paycheck. We stay pretty busy all year long. And, we pulled a profit our first year and our second year, and we're growing rapidly. So I'm super excited about HVAC in general, but the business side of it is that's my juice. That's what I'm into.
And that's what you love. And that's like you said, it's like you didn't necessarily choose HVAC, you chose business. Exactly. And HVAC was just the vehicle, kind of.
Exactly. And I really am glad I chose HVAC. It's a very tough industry. They say there's really only one industry that's tougher than getting into services, and that's restaurants. And they have the highest failure rate. It's very expensive to get into. Very tough industry. But home services, it's rough, and it's a rougher crowd. And it's not an easy one to get into, but I also feel like it's one of the most important because the services that we provide, heating and cooling, it's something that is desperately needed, and there's a ton of opportunity there. And my thought on it, we just had a team meeting. We blocked off a whole day this week and went over a whole bunch of stuff. And so I was kind of sharing the vision with everybody, trying to get them to see it. And, my vision with the company is I truly feel like what we do is so important and valuable that if we do it right, there's no reason why I can't provide the same type of environment and benefits and quality of life and work as a lot of other industries have. Because the reality is in construction, I mean, most of these guys, they have absolutely no retirement. They have no benefits, no vacation, no guaranteed hours. They can go months without work.
I was there once.
It's tough, and a lot of them don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I was doing before I started my business.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we were doing gutters.
Okay.
So home services. And that was, it wasn't the best work that I liked doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a creative person, so doing construction stuff and like doing that was kind of not necessarily like what I like doing. But I did it because it was just, my brother was doing it, and he's actually recently started his gutter and siding company in Kansas City.
Okay,
and
awesome.
So I have a question for you. What would some advice you would give to him starting his business?
I think a lot of the stuff that you talk about, I've been listening to some of your podcasts preparing for today. But, just really getting yourself out there, getting out in the community. People work with who they know, like, and trust. The more people know, like, and trust you, the more business you're going to get. I think that's the most important part starting off is you got to start bringing money in.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. So you
Yes.
always got to start there. And
You
then,
can't be going off credit cards for too long.
Oh no, don't do that. I'll get you in trouble real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or loans or whatever, you know.
Yep.
Sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes it's actually good to get a loan, I think, to start your business, because that'll allow you to actually hit the ground with all with the proper amount of resources you need, so you're not like scrounging. But also that could also enable you, I think, in a lot of ways, because you're not going to be learning the lessons. You may actually learn a lot of hard lessons and waste a lot of money.
Exactly. And so that's why, my take on it is just start small, do what you can do personally. It doesn't cost any money to go out and do networking and go to some of these different events and go shake people's hands and hand out business cards and be friendly and, join a networking group. Those are things that you can do without spending a whole lot of money in investment up front. And honestly, by far, I've had more payback doing that kind of stuff than anything else.
Okay, yeah, I'd say that's pretty good for me too as well. I'm gonna pause for a second,
Okay.
just to double check. Yeah, it's going good. I was like, what if that one's not going? No, it was going. It's been going the whole time. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's I love talking about this stuff. I love business. Like, I chose video production, but really I had a passion for starting businesses and like entrepreneurship. Even though I never went to pursue an MBA, I just always had a passion for running businesses. And actually, I think, for me as well, it's like video is kind of just a vehicle. And honestly, I would start any kind of business. And I think I'm going to be working on a product, a software. And I'm developing it right now, and I'm really excited about it. I think it has huge potential. What's cool about products is they're not like, you don't have to go out and put in 4 hours to fix something, or build a video,
Right.
Like the product, you can just make 1,000, 100,000 of them, whatever, and then you just have an inventory to manage. So it's like, as you studying it for your MBA, I'm sure you study different types of businesses, and I'm excited to learn more about what you learned during you getting that MBA. What do you think are some of the biggest lessons you learned from that, or information?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy one for me to answer. So the MBA was a lot of work. I have a family, small kids, and in business, same thing. It's a lot of work and investment and time away from, the family. And it's just so much that's involved in getting that done. And all of the hours and books and papers and case studies and different things that I did through the entire MBA. There's one thing that stood out to me more than anything, and that was the importance of a brand. And that's something that you talk a lot about as well. And it's absolutely true. The most important thing that you have in your company, or that you can build that is valuable, or that you can build that has value, is building a brand. And so when I first started my company, that was on the very top of my mind. Like, I have to come up with something that's going to be easily brandable. And so obviously your logo is a big part of branding. So that's a question people ask me all the time, like, why polar bear? How'd you come up with that?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. I just wanted something that was going to be easily brandable and could somehow be related to heating and air conditioning. And so I had a bunch of different ideas. One of my daughters, actually my oldest daughter, one day we were sitting at the table and she's like, what about polar bear? And I loved the idea right off the bat. I thought of a lot of different things, how we could use that for marketing, and especially for air conditioning. And polar bear, it's like easy, something that you can come up with the logo that people can see and remember. And so that's helped us out a lot. I think right from the beginning, people would see our logo and hear the name, and they were able to remember it.
Yeah, and that's huge. Yes. Yeah. I love the branding aspect. Obviously, that's kind of what I do for businesses, is help them brand themselves using content. And for me, I think branding is huge, and but also you got to let people know who you are, and so networking is massive. I do more now of the content inbound kind of outreach. And to be honest, it's crazy. I love it because I haven't had to really do like, I still do networking, but it's funny because I don't really see it like networking sometimes, the way I do it,
Honestly, that's the funnest part about business. I think, is the networking and just meeting cool people like yourself and getting to know people. It's awesome. So
Yeah, that's one great thing about it that I love about being in business is when actually like 2 days ago I have been here for 3 years. Doing construction is what brought me out to here to Fort Carson doing some. We had like a contract out there doing a bunch of gutters on the barracks, and so we were here for a few months. And just exactly 2 days ago, I think, or yesterday, was the day I actually moved out here, or actually came out here to be here temporary. Didn't expect to be here, but I feel like I was already going to start my business in Kansas City, and I feel like within the first 6 months of being here, even though I was working 6 days a week, sun up, sundown, well, till 5 p.m. because that's when they kick you off the base, but. Even though I was like working consistently, I was doing networking outside of that while I was here, just kind of like trying to learn how to network because I was going to take that back to Kansas City when I went back. Right. But then I decided I fell in love with the city and I decided to stay. But I brought that up because I think within the first 6 months, I met more people here than I had in Kansas City my entire life, just doing business, because that's part of it. Like that's important, like if you got to meet people and you got to let people know, like, and trust you. And that's how you do that. And like, that was one of the hardest parts for me actually, because I'm introverted in a lot of ways, actually, believe it or not. And so it's like, if you see me at networking meetings, I'm usually quiet. I'm usually trying not to raise my hand, that's how I was in school too.
Yeah, that's funny. Actually, that's how I met you, was at the 3 Million Cups.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, I'm a extreme introvert, and so I really had to put myself out there. But it's important, and that's how you just get to know people, and I really enjoy that part of it, and it's something that's become a lot easier for me now. But yeah, Colorado Springs is an amazing networking community. I never realized that. I don't know how it is in other places, but just talking to other business people and stuff, like, we do have a really amazing community and a strong support for small businesses. Yeah,
it's awesome. And I have only done business here really like that, like networking. I've only done it here, so I haven't got to test other places, but so I may be biased, but I do hear that a lot as well too, like that Colorado Springs specifically is like that. Though I do feel like with my MO and my determination, I could do that anywhere though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What's cool about like HVAC is everyone needs it. It's something that is in high demand all the time, I think, and maybe even growing more as especially in a city like Colorado Springs that is only getting more and more.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And summertime is the craziest time of year for us. It absolutely goes insane. Today it's supposed to be like 95 degrees. If you've been outside yet, it is burning up, and we've been, it's going to be crazy. I tell everybody every year, it's like a light switch. As soon as it gets hot, we get that 90, 95 degree day, and like we're going to have several days where it stays hot. Like someone flips a switch and everybody and their mom starts calling, and it just stays that way all summer long. It's absolutely crazy. So like, actually,
I just had a question now that you said that. My room in my house gets warm and it doesn't cool that well, and the vent's not covered. I made sure of that. So why is that? How do I make that? Is there a hack that I could do without having to fix the whole system?
It just depends. There's so many different things that it could be. We'd have to come and check it out, but so that's something that I really enjoy as well, is just the problem solving part of it. And as you learn more and how the houses are built and everything, the better we can do that. And unfortunately, the way the houses are constructed, as you know, if you've been around construction, new construction is pretty cutthroat. Basically, the cheapest person gets the bid all the time, and a lot of everything is subcontracted out and subcontracted out from that. So when it comes to ductwork, that's one of those things where it's just put in as cheap as it can possibly be put in. A lot of times it's not done right. And if you think about it this way, a house that is built to code is the cheapest possible way that you can build a house legally.
Okay. So you want to go beyond the code.
Absolutely. Okay. So we stay away from new construction because it's so cutthroat. But when we do new construction, we price it out the way that we need to in order to do the job properly. And we do go above and beyond. And there's certain things that we can do to increase airflow and make the entire home comfortable. So Just a couple of really quick examples for you. So inside of the system, there's static pressure. That's just the pressure of the air inside of the ductwork, and it runs at a very low pressure. So standard on a standard piece of equipment is rated to run at 0.5 inches of water column. So it's a very, very low measure of pressure, and that's a very small amount. So it's very, very small pressures. And above that, the system just isn't going to work the way that it's designed to. The blower motor is not designed to push the air. It's not going to handle it. So on the furthest runs, which is probably where your bedroom is at, you're not going to get any airflow.
What I did is I put a fan on top of the vent so I could pull it.
That's smart. They do have booster fans and stuff you can do. But it probably just goes back to the ductwork. So if the system isn't designed properly and the ductwork has too much not velocity, but too much interruptions in the system where the air can't just flow through it naturally, it's going to really build up and increase that pressure. And if the ductwork isn't sized properly, it's going to build up pressure. If the system isn't sized properly, all of that leads to all of those issues. So a lot of it really just comes down to airflow in maximizing it. So going back to that example, most systems are rated to run at 0.5 inches of water column. What we're seeing in a lot of houses when we do static pressure tests is they're running at closer to 1 inch water column, which is double what they're rated for. So you're never going to get the comfort in the home that you want without doing some additional work. So some of the things we do is we can upgrade the system to handle higher static pressure, and then we can do things in the ductwork to help minimize some of that turbulence. So an example, a very standard setup for a furnace here in Colorado Springs is you got a box. So you have a furnace right here, and then you have a return drop. So all your return air is coming straight down into the side of the furnace and then up and out throughout the house. So there's a lot of velocity right there because you think the air is just coming straight down. It's hammering into that bottom piece and then just getting sucked straight into the side of the blower and then going up and then 90ing again and splitting off and going different directions. So if we simply put like some turning vanes in there to redirect that airflow so it goes straight into the furnace and then lift up the furnace so it has more air, like room for the air to turn and swoop and come up. And then on the takeoffs, instead of just doing hard 90s, cut those inside corners out and put a 45 and just open it up so the system can flow better. That dramatically reduces static pressure inside of the system and increases airflow, makes the system run way more efficiently, keeps the entire home way more comfortable. So
yeah, okay. So would you say it's this you're an engineer? Would you say you're an engineer?
I wouldn't say I'm an engineer.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But we do design a lot of stuff, and I guess there's an engineering component to that. But a lot of companies, so believe it or not, majority of HVAC companies, and even myself, I'll admit that this is pretty new to me recently. So I've been doing HVAC for quite a while now, and I've never in the field had a technician or somebody come up to me and be like, oh, the static pressure, this or that, and talk about these airflow issues and stuff. It's something that is not done very commonly in the industry. And so we take a lot of classes. I'm huge on training. I've always been big on that. So we do a lot of certifications through the NCI. It's the National Comfort Institute. And so we've been learning about these things, and I'm certified in air testing and balancing. And this is where we started learning about this and started applying it in the field and realizing, like, man, the ductwork, we knew the ductwork was crap, but it's like, well, it's just crap. It's the way it is. It's a standard. So we didn't really do much about it. But now it's like, no, you can do something about it. And this is how you can test it and fix it and prove that it's working better. And so we've been doing a lot of duct design and modifications. And the new guy that I just hired, our sales guy, Vinny, he's a super smart guy. And I actually kind of stole him away from what he was doing. He was an air testing and balancing guy, and that was his only purpose. He would go out and basically verify that equipment is working properly for contractors and for homeowners and come up with the duct design to make the air flow better throughout the system so that they can be comfortable in the house. So we are now offering duct design consultations, and he'll come out and do all of that, put together a full package on how we can make your home comfortable by fixing the ductwork.
Nice.
Which I don't know of really any other contractors in town doing that.
Okay. Like you're trying to innovate in a lot of ways, huh?
Yeah, it is very innovative, and I think for me, I just want to be comfortable in my home, and a lot of people are not comfortable in their home, and nobody's really offering a solution for that. I just want to be able to offer that.
What is that? Oh.
Oh, sorry, I thought I turned the ringer
No,
off.
you're good. I thought it was the box over there. But yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I love thinking about that stuff too. When I was doing gutters, when I first started, I was like trying to like be like, well, we could like make things more efficient doing this thing and this way. I'm always trying to just think, but after a while, I was just like, okay, let's just get it done.
Right, exactly. Yep.
But yeah, I still always thought of things though. I was like. And this is an extreme example of something I thought of.
Okay.
But you know how you have to like climb ladders to do gutters. You got to go up and down, up and down. That's
Yep.
actually most of the time that you're doing. You're going up and down ladders. That's the majority of the work.
Right.
Well, that's the most time consuming part. You don't realize it until like that's what you're doing most of the time. And I was just thinking like if we could have like drones or jetpacks.
Right? That'd be awesome.
You could like having two drones that could, because the thing about a gutter is like the longer it is, the more fragile it can become, the more it can fold and flip.
Right.
And especially here in windy Colorado, when it gets windy, it gets windy and it stays windy all day, and like you can't work all day basically because you got to put gutters up and they can't fold or flip because then you just ruin like a whole 100 yards of material,
Right.
or however long, 40 feet. And it's like that's the material. That's what adds up. That's the most costly part of the gutters. So if you roll 100-foot gutter, you just wasted a bunch of money essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like if you could get like drones or jetpacks. I was thinking jetpacks. That'd be cool, like having just imagine you're the company that installs gutters with jetpacks.
Right. And people talk about the struggle of finding good employees right now. Like, who do you can offer your guys? I'll get you a jetpack.
Exactly. And I don't know if that breaks any code. I don't think there's any code written for it yet. But like that could also, what's cool is like you would also be branding yourself and like you could do some crazy logo or whatever, but you would be branding yourself as the jetpack company. Right. And you could get more work from that, but you would also be able to go faster so you could handle more work. So it would just be way more efficient. And I think drones would probably be the more the better way. But the things that are done like human hands currently have to do, but one day it will be drones.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And it's a dangerous job. I don't know if you know about the statistics of like death rates in industries, but like I think roofing is like above like even police officers with death rates specifically. So it's technically it's a more dangerous job.
Yeah, and you see those guys too, and it's like, man, they're on roofs all day, every day.
Yeah, and they like you get used to it, you can get comfortable, and next thing you know, I had a story of someone that I was working with. He just walked off the roof. Just took an extra step. Wasn't thinking, and that's actually technically against code because you're supposed to be strapped up when you're on the roof.
Yep.
But there's a lot of companies out there that don't do that. And yeah.
There's so much stuff like that goes on. It's crazy. I mean, we get on roofs because we do venting and vent caps and a lot of penetrations through the roof and stuff. And we've it's tough because I want to do things the right way, and so we have harnesses and everything for the guys. And a lot of times, if we're just doing like replacing a cap on a vent, you're up there 5 minutes and you're off.
Yeah.
By code, if we put on a harness and we got to get hooked up to a D-hook, and the roof technically should have that up there so we can hook up to it, but most roofs don't have it.
You gotta screw it on. You gotta cause damage essentially.
So it's like what's safer and going up there and spending more time trying to put a D-ring hook on the top of the roof and then get hooked up to it, and you'll have the potential for leaks or anything, and then go do a 5-minute job versus just doing it and getting off the roof. So.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people don't use the harnesses because it adds time, and you're trying to get things done. And like the way we were structured, we weren't paid by the hour. We were paid by the foot that we laid for gutters specifically. Yep. I mean, and that can be structured differently, but the more footage you can put down, the more money you can make.
Yep.
Essentially.
And I think that's how most construction is, and I mean in business in general, you're paid for producing. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, man. So. What have been some of the biggest struggles with starting this business?
Some of the biggest struggles, let me see. Honestly, I've been really blessed and fortunate. I know a lot of people really struggle with just getting really good guys. My I think the most important thing about building a great company is the people part of it. I mean, it's absolutely the most important part. You have to have really good people, and they have to, buy into the culture and be self-motivated and all of that stuff and wanting to grow. And I'm blessed with really great staff. I mean, everybody that we have is top notch. I got really great guys. The girls in the office are amazing. Our core value is caring. I talk about caring all the time. Everything that we do is built around that core philosophy of caring. And I feel like for the most part, everybody that we've been able to bring into the team really cares about the company and the work that they're doing, and produce at a high level. And we're only getting better. But that's probably one of the biggest challenges, I think, in HVAC, just getting really good people. And I've been really fortunate in that area.
Yeah. Okay. And how have you been able to grow that? Like, what was it like hiring the first employee?
So when I first started the company, Steve, he was my right-hand man. He helped me start the company from the very beginning.
Nice.
So we had, it was just me and him. Like, we were doing everything, answering all the calls, doing all the service, doing all the installs, doing everything. I mean, I remember being in crawl spaces trying to help him set a coil or something, and answering phone calls and scheduling stuff on my phone, and in attics and all this stuff. So we started off together. We worked really well together, and we just hit the road running. And I think from there, he's just one of those really kind of charismatic people type of persons, and he's worked in a lot of different companies around town. He knows, so HVAC it's a small community. Everybody pretty much knows everybody, and he's just one of those guys. He knows everybody, and I think people saw what we were doing and the type of work that we're doing, and kind of bought into the vision that we have. And so most of the people that we have has been because they've come to us and wanted to work with Polar Bear. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Yeah, because they're like they knew how to do the work.
Right.
And they just ended up finding your company and being like, hey, I wanna join. I want to be a part of this company.
Yeah. So a lot of the team that we have now is people that either Steve or I have worked directly with in the past.
Okay.
And the people that just wanted to come and be a part of what we were doing.
And growing it. And is Steve, is he a partner in the company?
He's not a partner in the company. I'm the owner of the company,
Gotcha.
but we do have some agreements in place and stuff
Nice.
to help incentivize him to grow the company and everything, and help. And yeah, he's a really great guy, and I'm very excited about the future of the company and the opportunity that I'm going to be able to provide for all of the guys and women in the office, or even hopefully we'll have some women technicians at one point.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about the future of the company and how we'll be able to just further incentivize that as a team aspect, and be able to provide better pay and benefits and medical and vacation time and a better work-life balance for everybody. Like I was saying before, that's really the vision that I have with the company.
Okay. And how big do you want to grow the company?
So we just laid down a plan. I have very high growth expectations. I haven't talked a whole lot about it, but so I'm pretty open. So our first year in business, we did about just under 1 million in total revenue.
Nice.
Our second year, we did about 1.6. This year, we'll do well over 2. And
Wow,
so
okay.
projecting everything out, looking at growth trends. And this is what I did when I did budget management.
For sure, yeah.
This is stuff I kind of like. And we're working on developing a much more intense plan that just really lays it all out. But as we were looking at that in our team meeting this week, so over the course of the next 5 years, the plan is to grow by about 50% year over year. And so by year 5, we'll be over 10 million a year company. And that's the goal. I think once we get to that point, I'll be able to have the resources to put all the right pieces in the right places to have a fully functioning HVAC company. And so I think that's the problem, because when you're smaller, you just don't have the resources, and you're wearing too many hats, doing too many different things. So I think that's where we need to be once we get to about that 8 to 12 million a year in revenue company. That's the sweet spot where we'll be able to have everything that we need to provide all of the services and do everything the way that I envisioned that we'll be able to do it.
Like kind of like how WireNet has done, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar.
I know
I just know
super
that
fast.
they have. I see their vehicles everywhere, and on their vehicles they have every single service.
So they're a great company as far as the business side of it. They're definitely doing things the right way. I see us operating quite a bit differently from them.
Okay.
So there's.
Would you say they were the same type of company as you?
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as the services they provide and everything, yeah, they're a direct competitor of mine.
For sure, yeah.
And they're way, way bigger. They're the big guy in town.
They
for
are,
sure.
yeah.
But there's two different models, and so I'm part of some different like best practice type of groups and people that have done it in the past, and they just really help you as you develop the company. And there's a bunch of these different type of groups out there for HVAC specifically. So one of the models is I don't really agree with it so much. It's more heavy on the sales, and I wouldn't say price gouging, but a lot of what we do, people are in a tough situation. I mean, it's the middle of winter. You got kids. It's freezing in your home. Somebody's telling you that you got leaking carbon monoxide into your house. They're going to shut your furnace off, or you need to get the heat back on right away. It's a high pressure situation, and there's opportunity to take advantage of that, which I don't agree with at all. But by taking advantage of that, you can basically charge like whatever you need to charge. I mean, whatever you want to charge, and a lot of people will just pay it.
Isn't that illegal to price gouge?
Yeah, it is, but
there's ways to get around it, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's just that's why I said I wouldn't really call it price gouging. I'll call it, I guess, more of taking advantage.
Okay.
So
yeah.
a lot of these groups, I think the way that they set it up is to take advantage of those type of situations, and it's more of a hard pressure sales. Like you got to make a decision right now, and that's how they get away with some of the really high prices that they charge for the services that they're providing. So a lot of the growth is fueled by that, just charging more money. It's not fueled by being a better business person or being more efficient at what you do, or any of those things that's going to help you, I think, grow more naturally. It's more pricing and just charging as much as you can to the customer. So we see a lot of that in the industry, and unfortunately a lot of the really big companies in the nation, that's the way that they operate. And there's another model that you focus more on being efficient and being a good business manager, and cutting waste and providing better services and relying more on word of mouth instead of marketing. And you can cut costs down and provide a really solid service and grow a really solid company without having to price things so high and put a lot of pressure on people to make a decision right away. And that's really what we're more focused on in the model that we're trying to follow.
Got you. Yeah. So when you're at that 8 to 10 million, what does that look like? Like scaling wise, like how many vehicles, how many?
So it's scaling wise. Obviously, we'll be a lot bigger than we are right now. So
about 10 times.
About 5 times. Yeah. So right now
yeah.
we have 2 install crews, which is 4 guys. So 2 guys per install crew, and they each have their own install vehicle.
Okay.
And then we have 2 service techs, which each has their own vehicle. And then I have Steve, who's kind of like a manager over the guys, but he also does run service calls and help out with service and installs. And then I have myself, which I run calls occasionally. I help out a lot more on the sales side and more on the business side of things. But there's a whole lot of things across the board that I'm still doing. And then we have 3 people in the office. So if we multiply that by 3, I mean, yeah, we'll be running quite. That's what I envision. I think it's going to take that kind of people. There's definitely some efficiencies to be gained.
And you could add specific people, or you can add more people you don't have yet, right?
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do, because it's like a puzzle. There's all these different pieces that we need to put it together. And right now, we just don't have enough people to fill all the pieces. So as we grow and get to that point, we'll be able to add more on and do more in certain areas. And I think there will definitely be some efficiencies to take advantage of as we grow and economies of scale. But I envision we'll be at least 5 times as big as far as the number of trucks, the number of people, all of that easily.
For sure. And like you said, you're still doing wearing a lot of the hats, and that will allow you to pass some of those hats on to other people, so you can focus on one core thing.
Exactly.
Is that the goal?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yep. Like you, I work a ton of hours, and I have a family and kids, and I've kind of had to sacrifice a lot of that. And so that's really what I want to get to. And that's why I'm so passionate about it for the guys and stuff too, because I've worked so hard and put in so many hours, and I've missed out on a lot. And you can never get that time back. But the quicker I can get there, the more time I can have going forward and try to make up for some of that, I guess. But I really want to get to the point where the guys and the team, we just have that type of a culture where, we work really hard and we provide a great level of service, but you don't have to work 70, 80 hours a week just to make a living. And, you still have that free time and stability that you can enjoy life and, and family time and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, sweet, dude. So yeah, this has been a great conversation. I think we could start wrapping it up. Is there anything else you'd like to let people know?
No, right now it's getting really hot. So if anybody needs air conditioning, or even if you just have questions about something in general, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to help any way that we can.
Yeah, and this guy's a smart man right here. We actually scheduled this like 6-7 months ago because this is peak season for you. So if this is just one little type of smart thing he's doing, imagine the other types of smart things he's doing.
Well, I really appreciate the time. It was a great conversation. I love seeing you out and about and all the different things you do, and I'm sure we'll be in touch quite a bit going forward.
For sure, man. Well, this has been great, and this has been the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one. All right.